What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the show. We've got a very special episode here today with the good homie Ethan Monroe. We're going to do a election day special. I guess what we call this. Me and Ethan are always into this political stuff, and I want to have him on to talk about what we're expecting, what we're about to witness, and how it's going to go. So, Ethan, thank you for being here. And before we even dive into the politics, what you been into?
I've been working my butt off, man. Just, kicking it, cleaning up basements, all that flood damage recently. Got hit pretty hard.
Yeah, real bad.
Yeah.
We a lot of work. I know you stayed real busy with that. You recently been writing some songs.
I have wrote a couple songs. Yeah. I played a show. We're at the Landing. I think for Dell's album release party. I wrote a song that day, played it, and then I don't know. That was a cool show though. Yeah.
I've seen you do that a bunch of times, like write a song and like that day and then go perform it.
There's some kind of weird psychology about it for me. I feel like it's a challenge. Like I'm like it's a show day. I haven't wrote a song in a few weeks. Like sometimes I'll lack, right? So I guess it's like a challenge thing for myself. It's like, can you write this song and go play it tonight and it be all right? Yeah. So it's some kind of weird psychological thing for me. I mean,
I feel like I've seen you every time I've seen you do it, and it's been multiple times. And it ain't like I'm at every one of your shows, so I can only imagine how many times you've actually done that. Because I think I think about every time I've seen you do it, you pull it off, and you'll have your lyrics there, you write it out in front of you. But
yeah, I could never without looking at like the lyrics. There's no way my brain can't remember something that fast. It takes me weeks to memorize a new song, and I'm not really sure why. But.
Well, we're going to try too while you're here. If we got all the setup for it, and we can make it between the two of us, make it the quality we would want it to be, we might even have you on here singing a
absolutely.
Few
I'd love to.
And if it works out, they might have already seen one. We might even open it with a song if we're able to make it.
Absolutely.
If everything's here and we can make it work, and so that'd be cool. I was already thinking too, considering what this episode is going to be about with the politics, election. But what I always like to name these after a song, and I don't know. I even looked up. I was like, political songs. We look up what's something in my head that.
Oval Room by Blaze Foley.
What is it?
Oval Room by Blaze Foley.
Oval Room,
or right. World War III by Blaze Foley also.
Okay, I might check those out.
In his Oval Room.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. That's perfect because I love Blaze Foley too. So and I know he's I know how big of influence he is on you. So that,
absolutely.
That would make the most sense with you being on here with me today. So yeah, that's the route we'll go. See, you was ready for that. I'm glad. I looked through the list. I was like, I don't know. I want to let Ethan. I have the decide on that.
I play that one quite a bit. That shows like
cool.
I'll throw that one. I'll throw that out there.
You want to cover it here?
I probably could, yeah.
If we pull it off, maybe do a cover of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's like magic happening right here in real time.
Absolutely.
Not real time to them, real time to us.
Real time to us, yeah.
So man, check this out. This is released. We're recording a couple days before, but if you're watching this, it must be like Monday night. You're about to go vote, or you've already voted. Because I do know like 50 million people have already voted or something. But like you're about to go in and vote, or not.
I'm not voting.
Yeah, you're not. And we'll get to that discussion for sure. What do you expect and you people expect? And let us know down there before election. Get your prediction in the comments and see if you're right. And then we'll point fingers at each other.
Yeah, we really got a few hours probably by the time you see this.
You're down to hours away. And so let's start there with like who do you think's going to win? I mean, who do you think's going to win?
Personally, whenever
not who you necessarily want or anything like that, who do you think will win?
I think my thought on it is people always talk about election fraud, but I view election fraud in a different light rather than just stealing ballots. I view it as your vote never mattered in the first place. The electors choose who they want to, regardless of who the people vote for. And I personally believe that Kamala is going to win. But going back to that, I think the states and the electors choose who they want to win, right? And I don't believe Trump will be good for the establishment and the way we're going. Because, I mean, I just don't personally. I think we're in the wrong direction, no doubt.
Yeah.
And I can see Trump getting a lot of votes, and I mean, it could go either way. For me, I think it's 50-50.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not sure. I think some part of me
I'm surprised by your take. That's cool. That was a good take. I wasn't expecting that because
to be honest with you, I believe that we're heading towards a collapse in regardless. And
Yeah.
Kamala speeds it up. Trump slows it down a little bit.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
I mean, yeah, and I can see that. There's people look at it. That's where a lot of people will put let's say even a Trump voter in a certain in a category, but like I would see it a little bit different. I mean, I could see either one slowing or speeding it up. I just don't know because there's just so many moving pieces already happening. I mean, I could easily make the argument from my point of view of a Harris being the one that could slow it down. Maybe wouldn't push the Democratic boundaries so much like a Trump might it was likely will, but I think everything holds up. But again, it's me. I'm not voting for either one of them. So like I'm voting,
Yeah,
but I'm
here.
not voting for either one of them. Um, I didn't think you'd see Harris as winning. I think my gut tells me that Trump's gonna win. Like
I've thought that, and then
because like
I
just
don't
going
know.
to the electors the thing. I mean I do think we have some. I mean I think our votes count. It's weird. Like the electoral system is weird. Like I think I would be more of a fan of a popular vote. I
Yeah,
get the argument against it, but that just
if
makes more sense.
if
to
your
me.
popular vote, if the masses aren't being manipulated
Well,
by
yeah,
mainstream media, then you could go off of
yeah,
a popular vote, right?
yeah,
Because everyone is equally informed about both sides of the
yeah,
candidate and both candidates, right?
yeah.
And you can make an informed decision. But now we have a bunch of
It's
bullcrap.
wild. Well, yeah, not just bad information, but people are also putting themselves deep into the corners. Like there's people.
Absolutely.
Well, we know we disagree on a lot of stuff. I mean, people don't know. Me and Ethan travel a lot together, playing music and shows, and so a lot of times these trips are 2 hours each direction. Me and him sit there and have these conversations. I have a blast having those conversations.
Me too.
Because we just sit there and chat it up and our thoughts. And times we agree, times we don't. We mainly agree about the fact how corrupt all these freaking people are in our Congress. Our representatives are not, for the most part, none of them that representative anymore. They're beholden to big money.
They're supposed to be servants, and
Yeah.
we, as a society, have kind of letting them brush over that fact.
Yeah.
They're not serving us any longer. We're serving their needs.
Yeah, and through all that propaganda, that bad information, and everybody going into their corners because everybody gets their feelings hurt, they get butt hurt, and that makes you retreat even more into your corner. It makes it easier for them to not have to be responsive to us. They've made us now responsive to them. We do what they want because we're so mad at these other people that we're already on their team no matter what. No matter what, you've got my support.
In reality, we are the ones being governed, and we are the team. You know what I mean? Like the people as a whole, we the people, right? You know what I mean? We're supposed to be united populace, and they've really effectively divided us.
Oh
and,
yeah, big time.
And this is a mass. This was someone's masterpiece put to work.
This is decades worth of planning, and expands probably. I'm sure. I know for a fact, older than I am. There's a real cool podcast I listen to, Master Plan. It's David Sirota. He's the guy from The Lever, wrote like the movie Don't Look Up, I think was the name of the movie. He's one of the writers on it. Progressive guy, but he's always fine with calling out the Democratic Party for all their problems. But that master plan, it's really about him just tracing back money in politics, and that it's the history's been there since the beginning of the country, and times it would get bad and then worse. But the current plan that we haven't put an end to of money and the corruption, like the buying out our representatives, started in like the early '70s.
Yeah, and it's clearly not stopped. It's gotten worse.
They figured it out. They've done it way better this time because they were able to use as they got a bigger control over information. As they got more control over the news and everything like that.
You control what's being seen by the people. It's easier to manipulate when
Yeah.
you control entire news organizations.
So we'll get back to the election and we'll bounce back and forth on that stuff. So you think Harris will win? I think Trump will win. But so what? Just for where Pennsylvania goes, I mean, it almost could be the one that decides. If it's going to be decided early, it's going to happen in Pennsylvania.
I think, to be honest, I think Trump wins Pennsylvania.
I do too. I think that's why he wins the election.
Yeah, I mean, I could see
Now
that.
there might be a very silent, like think we talked about on the live last night, but unless there's and I could see people that aren't inspired by Harris, they're still voting for her, especially women. I don't blame women for going that route with that vote. I can pick apart any vote, but I understand absolutely. So there might be a lot of unenthusiastic but solid support there that we might not be necessarily noticing. But now the national polls are showing what her up by 1, which means in national elections, though, the Democrat generally has to be up by like 5 points to make up for just how where the votes are taking place.
Yeah, polls are not really the most accurate. I mean,
Well, they've
how many
admitted so.
people they poll who they want to first
Yeah.
of all, and you're polling a minority of people in the entire country. You know,
I mean, I do.
they're
listen
kind
to
of
some-
representative for sure.
Yeah.
But
Well, it depends. You got to. It's like everything else. You got to take in a bunch of it. You got to allow for their biases, what they're doing,
Absolutely.
with the way they're. So there's always adjustments to be made with any poll. I don't sit there and dive deep into polls myself. I do listen to a few shows that like they kind of do the work for me, where they kind of assess a wide variety of polls and are aware of what way they're leaning. But I would, if I had to bet money, and I'm not a betting man, I would bet on Trump winning the election.
I'm kind of
Harris.
surprised in the same thing.
Yeah.
Really.
Yep.
Now, I'm not saying I want Kamala Harris to win, and I'm not saying I want Donald
That's
Trump
right.
to win either.
Who do you think will win?
Yeah,
who do you think will win?
right.
But yeah, because I know you're like a more libertarian guy.
Yeah, I'm way libertarian. And in all reality, I would prefer Trump wins. That's just me.
Yeah, whether you're conservative,
I'm a little bit more with
And
with business, right? You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Kamala
fine.
Harris's administration, it would be a lot tougher on businesses with corporation taxes and all that stuff.
Yeah, which is something you just don't agree with. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And there's
Yeah,
nothing
no.
wrong with that.
And I don't,
You know,
I
would
don't
be the
care who you
opposite
vote
of that.
for.
I'm like, I think there's a room for tax and stuff on that end, but there's no problem with that, and that's why I wouldn't even sit there and debate something like that
Yeah.
because we're here to talk about corruption.
Yeah.
And getting back to where you have
Absolutely.
honest representatives like that could sit down. We could both disagree on that stuff. We'd sit down and find where we can compromise, and you move the ball down.
Absolutely. I think that
But-
happens locally, like it's happening right here.
So here's the thing: we aren't neither one of us, right? Because here's what we're both about to be called. By the way, you'd prefer Trump. I don't.
You think he's gonna win?
I think so. But with the fact that we're not supporting a Harris, we can get called bigots and
Racist.
misogynist, and
Which I'm not worried because it's free speech.
I ain't worried
You
about it.
guys
It's just
have your own
annoying that
beliefs,
That's
you
such
know.
a weak argument. Now,
is.
are there people that might vote in that way? I'm sure. There
Oh,
are.
100%
For
on both
sure.
sides. You know,
Yeah.
that's
so-
awful. It's awful saying that
Yeah.
should not even be had as a society to have those types of feelings towards another human.
Yeah,
But if you
people
want
are
to call me that, whatever. You know.
people are all over the map. Like I suppose my 26-year-old college graduate daughter is a gay bigot, misogynist, and she's I guess she's a self-hating gay woman.
That's crazy.
And I know gay people that are racist. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
this is literally a thing. Like people are strange cats. We are some weird monkeys.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
And we're all over the place. Well, at the end of the day, what we want is honest representation. But before we get back to that, let's touch on the election. So the election goes down. We'll touch on both scenarios here. Because it's happening. As of right now, as we're doing this, I think at least 50 million people have already voted. So the election is in progress. The election goes down. Let's start with, start with just Trump. No, you're the guest. Let's go with Harris winning. How violent do you think that turns right away?
see, I don't know if it could be any more violent than the past 8 years of rioting that we've seen from.
Oh, I think it keeps getting worse.
You
though.
know, it is getting worse, and
Yeah,
it's
that's
gonna
right.
happen more. I think, 'cause
Especially when you got, Trump. I mean, literally, whatever you think about it, twice somebody tried to assassinate him.
yeah,
Just like the
recently
last,
and within a month, right?
like,
yeah,
it's like that's an
Insanity.
escalation. That's
Yeah,
we
for
are
sure.
we are everything to me seems to be just the pot is more bubbles are boiling over the edge of the pot.
Well, I think what I've been focusing on is trying to set myself up to communicate with the community and
Yeah.
not worry about what's going
Yeah.
on in the big grand scheme of things. Because unless that touches us, then we don't have have a too big of an issue to worry about if there's a huge falling out. We're a small town,
Yeah.
but at the same time, how fast can it spread, and how any one of these leaders can just point, you know what I mean, and tell you to do this thing, and you're probably going to do it. I mean, that is scary at the end of the day. I mean, how fast anger builds and reaction times. I mean, we might get a riot around here. Chillicothe, Columbus might spread down here.
Yeah, it's gonna
You know.
be. It's gonna. I mean, yeah, it can be. It's gonna get ugly. Definitely in the bigger areas, right? DC would get out. So we're saying what we say if Harris wins,
Mm.
which is really the same scenario either way. But
It is the same. That's
like,
what I was about to say.
yeah, there's gonna be violence no matter the scenario.
At least for a
Uh,
couple months. I mean,
I think it would probably come, and it could come in two separate, different ways. Consider even though it'd be the same violence. Like I could see, I feel like if Harris won, like kind of the January 6th thing, I think it would be multiplied by a lot, which would cause all these bad scenarios if then because they're going to surround everything with all the military and stuff, and in a way, rightfully, in a way, because you can't have people stampeding through there. As much as, I mean, you can be radical. You might be fine with that. You probably, yeah, I know your ass. You might.
I'm not
be
gonna say
fine.
anything.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to take the other route a little bit in the way I discuss it. But so point taken. But I don't think they can allow that. You know what I mean?
I mean, they won't.
Yeah.
Not that
Yeah.
they might not be able to stop it. There's also that possibility.
So that means there's going to be,
But
that's going to be a ugly
I read
violence.
2 days ago that I think it was the Pentagon or something released papers where the military is now authorized to use lethal force against citizens.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think didn't they get some of that approval even like a decade ago, or was that just Americans overseas? I think it was Americans overseas.
Americans overseas,
So they
and
just
now
they keep grabbing it. So that's why
now
I get
it's
it.
here.
That's why I'm I've got a lot of sympathy for all my like right leaning friends with all the concerns of freaking the big state. Like, cause yeah, I mean, it is a thing. I don't believe there's one big like world. I think it's competing powers, but
I think
yeah,
United States is the
you
world
know,
power.
we know, Joe Biden re-upped warrantless wiretapping. I mean, okay. I mean, that's a problem. We shouldn't
Yeah.
have that.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have that. I get safety and all that stuff, but there, that's the
Well,
whole
the Patriot
different-
Act allows all that
Oh,
in
that
the
was
first
horrible.
place. I mean,
That was horrible. That's what gave him.
you can understand as a country being scared and not really reading between the lines, but they definitely use that to their ultimate advantage.
Well, yeah,
and
it
I mean,
was-
was that a part of the plan? Who knows?
Oh, it was
who
definitely
knows?
part of the plan.
I mean,
yeah, absolutely. The military-industrial complex, the whole.
Without that, we're not here.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
That was absolutely part of the plan, completely. They capitalized on that, and they use people's fears against them, and people just wanting to
And that
feel
is-
safe. And you do want to feel safe, but there's ways to go about doing it. Sometimes your safety you're doing not just counterproductive, but it's taking like freedoms away from people.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be. Just shouldn't be warrantless wiretapping.
No.
I disagree. I think it's
No knock
criminal.
raids, none of that
And
stuff.
so people's concerns about the government overstepping is, I mean, I get it. I can't tell them, no, they're not. Because, yeah, they are. They are. And I'm what would be considered like a Bernie Sanders Democratic Socialist more type, not full on in every way, but that's what I line up with for the most part.
Yeah.
But I don't like a big state. I just want it to be efficient no matter what size, honest and efficient no matter the size. But getting back to your point, we should probably also be working towards what you're talking about, though. You get back to community-based stuff. You don't have a big government breathing down your neck. All leave as many decisions as possible to that particular community, and start to build up stuff from there.
I mean, we know what's best for Portsmouth better than Donald Trump and Kamala Harris knows. Because have you ever seen any one of them campaigning down here in Portsmouth? I've never seen a rally of Kamala or Trump down here.
No,
It's been several years since any president has been down here. They don't
Yeah.
care, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's up to us. We make the changes,
I'm trying to remember the last one it was. Did Trump didn't come to Portsmouth at all there, like last time maybe?
I don't think he did. He may have, but I know he came through Waverly at some point. But
I remember back in the day I went and
Piketon.
watched Biden when he was at the Portsmouth High School back when he was vice president for Obama.
Yeah.
I was down there for seen John Edwards and stuff because I used to volunteer a lot for the local Democratic Party back in the day for a few years back in the early 2000s. But it was we got to protest George Bush here when he came to town. I think that was 04. I think it was 04, 03 or 04. Got to protest and flip that president off, and should have flipped all of them off though if I get the chance. Really, in my lifetime.
if I had the chance, I would.
Yeah.
Double birds, actually.
Yeah, well,
each of 'em.
I think we was actually
And my
holding the
toes.
sign, and we was on each side of the sign, flipping the bird on the other side. But that was actually not helpful in a way. Like I was apologizing for a party on the other side that wasn't worth a damn either, really.
Yeah. care. Oh. Hell yeah. I didn't think I was going to get all through it.
Well, let's get back because we're going to get to talk about all kinds of stuff over time, but on multiple episodes. So let's go back to the actual thing. Harris is one. D.C. surrounded, violence breaking out. Man, it can even. I don't think it sprinkles into our necessarily communities so much, but man, it's gonna. Because if it escalates, if it boils over, it will, because you'll end up. I mean, you see the like Civil War talk and stuff like that. You know, I mean, obviously
Have
that's
you seen the politician talking about? I don't know if he was a politician or he was somebody in the government, and he was in a group with other, authoritative figures talking about they need Civil War like conditions, bodyguards for everyone, armed security, all that stuff for the government.
Yep.
They need civil like war like conditions because they said something about not letting Trump in office, which I thought was wild because like wasn't that the opposite last time? Like they weren't. Trump was trying not to let Biden in. And I feel like it's a whole big game. Like, maybe it is the Democrats doing it this time. Maybe Trump wins, and they do the same exact thing.
I'm sure they will try everything.
Because look at, all the riots
felon.
recently, you know what I mean?
I'm sure any power they are going to do, they're clearly willing to do it. None of them. Everyone wants to pretend this fight's over democracy. It's not over democracy. They're fighting over their own individual
their
power.
Own money and their own wealth and their own power. It's not about us at all.
Unfortunately, the party that I'm naturally an ally with and used to be a member of, they ain't shown no love for democracy. I only have to keep bringing up their primaries. I bring it up in every damn comment.
They literally throw Bernie out every single year. I feel like he should have been the president.
Didn't do one this year, and then they played the games they played with just the whole. These same people that were telling you Joe Biden was totally fine. Even after the debate, he can't step down. He kept stepping down, and they knew that. They knew that's why they kept him hidden most of the time. And that way, they should have had a primary. If they cared about democracy, they'd have held a primary last year. They'd have held a proper one in 16 and 20. It's whatever.
And not even random at all.
But just the other side's the problem, right?
Yeah. Well, I think, in my opinion, that's about control in itself. Like, in reality, Kamala Harris never made it past any of the other election stuff. Years, in the last election, she didn't make it, or whichever one but was before that.
Yeah,
that she ran as president, right? She didn't make it to the primaries in that one. So what makes people think that she would have made it this year?
Yeah,
she never would have got voted in to be the candidate ever over anybody.
No, she definitely wouldn't have. Now I don't have here's where my problem is with what they did this time. It was that they didn't do it and have a full primary like a year ago.
They just threw her in there.
I know they were panicked at the end with him being president. Like they almost do have. I don't, because where it is a party thing, I could see him hand that off to her. That's like the least bothersome part. I mean, it's still not good because it just still builds up and shows that they don't really care about you making the choice, right? You know what I mean? So that for me, that's why it was dumb to do it that way. That's morally still where I don't like it the least. That they're shit they pulled in primaries that bothers me. You know what I mean? It's like just not letting people even debate. It's just crazy to do that.
Yeah.
Especially when the country's already at a point where people don't trust nothing, they don't trust these politicians, and now you're making it feel even more not kosher, even if it is a kosher situation. Now you're still just keep undermining trust in the system. I was talking to Amadeo on our live, like you're in your same generation, like me and Heather, people older than us. We grew up. Even if you realize how messed up things are, you came up in a generation that was like, yeah, you knew things are bad, but there's still plenty of good ones there, and then. It's mainly okay. There's some corruption there, but it's mainly okay. Your whole political life has probably been seeing a system is completely fucked.
Yeah, and I believe that's why that I have such a radical view that I do. I believe that it's time for a change completely.
Yeah.
Because it's not worked in my lifetime, and it's only increasingly got worse. In the past month since all the flooding, we did some work for some older folks, and I'm talking late 80s and 90s. And just talking to older folks in general, they all say it ain't never been this bad before. Yeah. It ain't never been this bad. And they're saying something needs to change. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So these folks that have seen the World War II, Vietnam, all this stuff, it ain't never been this bad. More longer than that. Some of them 90 years old. I mean, that's the 30s. That's Great Depression era.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
it ain't never been this bad.
Yeah, it's just there's no way that it's. I mean, what's the Shane Gillis jokes like? I think we had a civil war. Yeah, we're still in modern times and in a long time. This is the worst it's been, and especially with the way the internet speeds everything up. Now there's people you can literally just fill your head with whatever you want at this point. You can just literally whatever you want, and that's why so many people are in such far corners. But man, it's really bad. I think it's boiling over badly.
I think it's up to us. We got to figure out how to fix the human issue, right?
Yeah.
And it's this technology is what's driven that issue as entirely. We've just lost the humanity part of us humans. I feel.
We got well, and we're just showing actually kind of our freaking monkey genetics because
Yeah.
we're like
Fighting each
our
other.
pride is a you
Oh,
know
yeah.
what I mean, like it's hard to say, you know what, I think I've been looking at this completely wrong. I think I've been belittling people I shouldn't probably be belittling. Maybe I should see things from their point of view. Why are they hurting? Who are they mad at? Because that's kind of like a support, like somebody like me that was a big Obama guy to the point. I was wearing Obama bracelets. You know what I mean? Like kids, daughter made me. I was big into Obama. First person in our little county back when he was running against Hillary in the primaries that reached him through an email, met him down at the local restaurant. We put our hopes into that dude. Turns out he was just a really smooth politician. You know what I mean? He did a good thing. Every president does some good and bad things. Sure, you sit there and say, he did this. Yeah, I can also bring up the thousands of people dead and all the corporate giveaways. And we all have to acknowledge, too, no matter which guy's been president, which party my whole life, the overall product of America, the country, the republic, has steadily been declining, no matter which ones. There might be these little bumps along the way that they fix, and it makes you feel like everything's going good, but the whole trajectory has been really bad for a long time. Like these little small step saving things that aren't going to do the trick no more.
Yeah.
And that's like the Obama. My love for an Obama. Some people are still, for some people it was Clinton back in the day, the generation before me. But they just a lot of people put their hopes in Trump. You know what I mean? In the same way, they think he's to me he's definitely not the game changer people hope he is. Like just as Obama wasn't either. But I don't fear the guy. I don't like him or none of this and that. But he's just another typical politician to me. So that's why I would get somebody to be more supportive of him than those of us that aren't. You know what I mean? I definitely get both sides of it. But I'm not going to call everybody that's a Trump supporter freaking bigot and I know these people. It's not the case.
Completely counterproductive.
I know some of those. But I know that on all kinds of sides,
It is just counterproductive to what you're trying to achieve. If you're trying to unite people for a cause, calling them names and other things is not going to. It's going to make me honestly. If you walked in and I told you my opinion, and he's like, "Oh, well, you're automatically a racist." You know what I mean? Like, you know what? Fuck you.
Yeah. Well, now you're going to.
Like that's how I feel about you now. You know what I mean?
Now
Like,
you got to get on the defensive. You've been
right.
insulted.
No, you're a whatever. You know what I mean? And then it starts that whole. That's a whole cycle right there in itself. You know what I mean? And it repeats because after you do it the first time, I mean, shoot, then you're willing to hop on the train of just tagging on anybody that doesn't agree with you.
And it's easy, easy to do. And I think a lot of times, like people online, I think they're taking out the troubles of their day on people. Because you don't have to look at these people. They don't even know these people. It's just them. It might even be just like a release. Like they treated me like crap at work. I couldn't say nothing at work.
Yeah, get fired.
So now I'm gonna go to the WSAZ comment section
and blast all these old people.
And start lighting people up. I got some shit to get off my chest.
Yeah, Barbara.
yeah. They just fucking degrade people for the next 4 hours online.
And I think that people would feel a whole lot better if they went on there and uplifted people and asked what we could do together. You know what I mean?
And that is where it's going to cut. Like
it's a mindset. Your mindset is raising, right? And you're staying down these negative. Oh, I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. You're gonna stay down there. You're gonna feel that way. Yeah. When you start feeling and putting out good things, you're gonna start getting back good things. It's reciprocation. It's the law of the universe. Yeah. What we give out, we get back. Yeah. And we're putting all this damn hate, and that's all we're getting back. And I understand why.
Yeah. I mean, that's nobody's looking. We just don't communicate that way. Hell, even it's in my one song, I kind of talk about it.
Yeah.
But it's just weird. People are hurt. A lot of people don't know who to blame, who's at fault, or they think they get half of it right. That's what I always tell people. When someone's digging the Democratic Party, they're right. When someone's digging the Republican Party, they're right. I mean, as in taking shots at them.
Yeah.
They just never ever in agreement that it's both of them.
Yeah,
it's both of them.
Both of them. It's the same bird,
both
man.
Right. You're both right.
They're called wings of government for a reason. It's the same
and there's
bird.
Even they have their differences. Sure, they believe different things and this and that and that. But that's honest parties.
Those are surface level beliefs.
They
to be
don't
honest,
as long as they can keep using them as a election tool. They ain't trying to solve it.
and if you notice, they only really solve issues at the end of terms and at the very beginning. The middle is just trying to get reelected. Well, what have you done that even what have you done that even deserves you to get reelected?
Yeah.
Give a full 4 years of actually doing change that the people want and see what kind of change happens.
Yeah.
But that will never happen because that change does not benefit their interests.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to even in two examples I've been using is that the first one, the oldest one, would be Obama with the Freedom of Choice Act, which he ran on it that would codify Roe versus Wade, would have made abortion protected under federal law, which is not what Roe versus Wade was. It was a court judgment. There was no law actually passed. It was this court just upheld that, and we just rode off of that for 50 years. He ran on getting that passed when he had basically a supermajority in the House and stuff. Now people say, well, he didn't actually have 60. Correct. There were Democrats that didn't want to support the Freedom of Choice Act. Because remember, Democrats also didn't always support abortion just like a decade ago.
I mean, Barack Obama and Joe Biden didn't support gay marriage a decade ago either. So that's a different story.
Clinton, they were
none of them before it. Yeah.
But right after he was elected, he said it wasn't his priority no more, and it's basically a touchy subject, and we'll work on stuff where we can agree. I wonder why he did that. And he didn't even use the bully pulpit. Like people say, he couldn't have got it. He didn't even try. He literally didn't even. He could have actually. People always underlook the power of president. He can go and talk to the American people. You can he can let you have your voice heard. He can and then those people those people would have ended up supporting. And I'm not saying you had to support abortion. I'm just saying I'm just talking about
your example.
Broken political promises and how they use these
Absolutely.
things. So it wasn't a priority for him to actually codify it because it's a great tool politically. To drive out
be
the
reelected.
Vote. You know what I mean? If you take that off the table for Democrats, they have a lot. If that's just federally protected and there's no danger of it, 2/3 of the states getting rid of it, you no longer have that in your tool belt.
The only thing that I have personally seen Democrats campaign off of, and the ideas that I have seen, was Trump is a Nazi, America, there's no democracy left, things like that. They're not really giving any policy. No policy. It's just telling you these things. Trump's racist. You can't vote for him,
or you're racist.
You're racist. It's all about hate. It's all about hate Trump. Honestly, that's what they run.
There's a lot of that. I mean, you definitely if you listen to as much stuff I do, obviously I'll hear a lot of policy. But I can see where the overall message, the stuff that they hit in these little 30 ads, it's all this. Don't remember how evil they are.
Yeah, it's not actually about what we're going to do for you.
I get all the time people. This is the last time you'll ever get to vote if he wins. And now that's a chance that could happen anytime.
I think that's actually going to be the case anyways.
But they don't have the right to. They have the right to say it. They don't have the credibility to say it when no one cared about the way they manipulated their primaries. That didn't matter. But I still think we vote. I do think we're in a collapse. I think we're anywhere from 5 years to 50 years of collapse.
We've already been collapsing. I mean, since the founding of the Federal Reserve.
Yeah, I don't know how close to the end we are, but boy, I tell you what,
we're close.
Yeah, it feels like
I feel like we're touching the fire.
Go back to you don't think we'll vote after Trump?
I don't think we'll vote after either of them.
Really?
Yeah, because I think that our political climate is going to be completely broken down.
We'll break over?
I believe.
I mean, that's super likely.
I honestly think in either scenario, Trump wins. Maybe.
So you're saying the violence just gets so wild that everything just comes apart?
I think that it's just happening.
And you believe then our institutions are hollowed out already enough? Because they've been getting hollowed out. So there's hollow enough now in your mind that they just can't hold up through whatever's coming.
I don't believe they can. I mean, especially honestly, I think especially if Kamala wins. But if Trump wins, I mean, that could be. We don't know really. I think either way though, at the end of the 4 years, I don't believe that we have made any progress, and we've only continued going down.
Oh, that's for a fact.
And I don't believe people are going to want to vote at the end of this next 4 years if anything has changed.
Yeah,
I believe that people are actually going to start acting, and Because if we have
People,
another cycle of this with zero action, zero change from any politicians, I could see we're already fed up. We're already fed up. So so we're going to put up with it for another 4 years of false promises and then just go and do it again. If we do that, we are the ignorant ones, and we're allowing it to continue to happen over and over again. You know. Yeah. So that's my opinion. That's why I don't think people are going to be voting. I think it's going to be choice. It's going to be us choosing. We're going to do something else this time. You know what I mean? That's my opinion on it.
No, I mean that's. I wouldn't say I could consider that likely. I can see that though. You know what I mean? Like I still think people will be trying to.
Yeah, so there's gonna be
cling to the what we
they
do.
have.
I mean, I know. I hope to be voting in
comfort.
4 years. I damn sure hope I could vote in 4 years.
The faster it happens, the faster our grandkids and kids see something.
Well, I mean, we do have to figure out what that change is. You see it as in just go ahead and just break
I
it
don't
all the
think
way down. But I would still love to see a push for just like a grassroots movement of the left and right. That's for me. That's why we have to. Obviously, we don't fight each other, but like the people that do that, the partisan people that just cuss each other out the whole time. Man, if we get all them people to stop fighting each other and realize here's all them, the D's and the R's, they got to go. All of them got to go. Most of them, you know. You get. If I was to give examples of one on each side that I think, even though I don't disagree with either one on a lot, one I don't disagree on with much. The other one I disagree with, not on everything, but a lot. So like a Bernie Sanders and a Thomas Massey. Like, you know, I don't agree with Thomas Massey on most things, but I think he's at least there and doing, whether I agree with him or not, he's there with all the right. He's one of the few guys that don't take like APAC money, won't let him around him or nothing like that. You
know. I personally think when you're just given, we hate corporations, right? We hate monopolies.
Yeah.
That's all the United States government is a monopoly. It's one big monopoly over all these states that is the size of Europe. You know what I mean?
Became too big business in your mind. Like,
it is. It's way.
It's bought out by big business too.
We're allowing, and I don't know why it makes sense to us to allow one entity to come in and just tell us how to live and give us our beliefs. They give us our thoughts. They give us our education. What our history is. I don't know how we've just allowed them to come in here and play God. Because that's what they are. And at the end of the day, they're killing people. You know what I mean? Executions and overseas. Yeah. They're playing God, and it does. I mean, it don't make sense to me that why we allow that to happen when at a much more local and state level, we can definitely dictate what goes on here, and actually have good change goes about. You know what I mean? Like we can really say, hey, this is what's going on. These are the changes we need to address, and do something effective to change that.
Yeah.
You know, because it's harder to change the whole world.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
It's easier to change your community, and
that's why I love these conversations with you, because I so get exactly what you're saying, understand it, have love for it. I disagree in the fact I wouldn't want to like have no federal government. I would, there's the old let it work and drown it in I don't even care about that. I don't care about the size. It definitely needs to shrink, because if you just got rid of the military-industrial complex, if you get rid of that system, you're shrinking that government dramatically. Yeah. So all the things, I'm not married enough to any one idea that I ain't willing to try all of them, but I have big love too for the local things. So so that goes back to because you're probably a believer like what's supposed to all been small state, small government stuff, and now the fucking big fuckers kept taking power, which they have, and to have more say over everything. So that's what you're saying. Let's make it community based and just skip all the governments.
Let's build our country the way it should be built in each individual town. Because if you take all the tax money each county and city sends to the federal government to be sent overseas, how much of that would benefit new buildings and new programs, new jobs, all that stuff in Portsmouth? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
30% of your income of each individual, 20 to 30%. Of everybody's income, you know how much money that is? It's insane. That's hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, that's. I mean, we'll do this again, and we'll spend one whole episode just talking about the military-industrial complex. Because I know, we ain't trying to do a 3-hour podcast. We start up on the war side. So we're gonna.
That's a long conversation.
Those are the spots where we're always in the kind of lockstep. These are corruption and like ending the military-industrial complex and free speech. You're always in lockstep. But we also get to have these great conversations where we're like, well, I see it like this, and we didn't cuss each other. We didn't.
Yeah, absolutely.
We hang out all the time, love each other. Amazing. That's doable. That's possible.
That's community right there.
But and then that community building up, man, that's really is a big thing. I like to see you develop that, and obviously, I'll help in any way, whatever.
Absolutely.
Everybody seeing this, I would be expecting to see Ethan have some sort of message about this coming up.
Absolutely. I plan on.
So he believes Harris. I believe Trump is going to win it.
I mean, I think it's going to go.
It's
It
a
can
coin
go
flip.
either way.
Me too. Definitely.
I just my gut feeling says somehow Kamala wins, and then some other people say somehow Trump wins. You know what I mean? It's just about what's in your mind, what you think.
And then but we're both in agreement that there's going to be violence.
There's going to be violent in one way or another. Whether it's physical, I don't know. Maybe it's just.
I think it's going to get physical.
That's going. I mean, in history, if you look back, it always has.
Ugly. Yeah, and I think everything's so rated. Everything just feels the energy in the room, and by room I mean the country, is like whoo-wee. You could feel shit feels like it's about to go down.
Look, level-headed thoughts and decisions never come from anger. And
right, get honest representation, remove money from politics. God, all these things.
Now, anger does drive some will to change, though. I'd say that.
You do got to be angry.
You do got to be angry because that lights fire.
It's remembering who to be angry at too. You know what I mean?
Directed at something good.
Yeah,
right.
we spend too much. We direct our anger too much at people
everything.
That are just in
almost.
the same boat as us, mad at the same system. We're just mad at it for different reasons. But we're all basically right for being mad.
We're all mad, right?
Yeah.
So that's if we're all mad, and they're all profiting and laughing at us and having the same dinners together. That just gives you the answer right there.
Yeah.
We're all pissed off. They're having dinners and banquets together, telling jokes. I mean, what's that tell you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't care. At the end of the day, they don't care.
Yeah.
It's money,
Well, we didn't touch on Senate stuff, which I don't think that's going to matter as much if everything starts melting down. So we'll get ready.
Senate will be the last thing.
Now, I don't know if we might get ready to see Ethan do some more music, or we won't. Either way, thank you guys for if you're still here right now. Thank you guys for this conversation. I hope you enjoyed it. Did you?
I did.
Enjoy
Yeah,
it?
glad to come out here.
It's fun to have these conversations. It's the way
Absolutely.
we gotta be able to talk about this stuff, guys. It's easy to be good and respectable and just talk about. We're all after the same thing. I can guarantee you that. So y'all, till next time, laters.
I got a problem I need to fix. See, I got this life without you in it. Though you assure me I will be okay, I'm pretty sure that I won't last another day. I won't last another sunrise. 6:30 a.m. I won't even see the trees sway along with the wind. Or sing a song, sing along to the tunes you love. I'll be flying as a bird, a lonesome little dove. I thought that I'd make you see, but I guess that I was wrong as can be. You turn your back, you lied and walked away. Even knowing I won't last another day, I won't last another sunrise. 6:30 a.m. I won't even see the trees sway along with the wind. Or sing a song, sing along to the tunes you love. I'll be flying as a bird, a lonesome little dove. That's my favorite song I've ever wrote, I think. I don't know